Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Direct Application. I'm your host, Matt Harrington. Thanks so much for joining in. A couple weeks ago, we've been on this journey of teaming and talking a lot about high performance teaming and really hopefully getting into the tips, tactics, tools, and nuts and bolts of actually creating a real team. And I was reading this piece the other day, and I thought this summed it up so well. Kind of teaming is the vehicle. But I love this term of inclusive excellence. That's what we're actually striving for when we are doing teaming. Remember, teaming is never the end goal. Teaming is the vehicle to get us to a better product, a better service, a better team, a better mission. But I love this concept of inclusive excellence, that we want to be inclusive. We're bringing a team together. And with that, and because of our effort and our pursuit of high performance, we want to make that inclusivity a level of excellence. And so I want you to continue to think of teaming as inclusive excellence. So we talked about protocols. One of the things, and again, this is one of those, nobody wants to do it. Oftentimes we just hop into teaming, or we go and bring our team on a team course or trust falls. But really the nuts and bolts of bringing a group of diverse perspectives together, a bunch of different ideas together, is around creating a lot of the roadmap and the guidelines and the boundaries, right? We know that from any good relationship and any good therapy that we need good boundaries. And so part of what protocols do for a team is it creates the playing field. It creates the rules of the road. And so I know that I'm going to commit to this protocol. You're going to commit to this protocol. And together, because we've committed to that protocol, we'll hold each other accountable to that. And remember, a team is bigger than a group. A team holds each other accountable. And so protocols are just that pathway. So one of the first protocols I always like to outline and introduce to a team or a retreat, or even if there's been a senior leadership team that's been together for a long time, my guess is they have not actually gone through a help hinder list. And a help hinder list is very easy. You can just put it up on a flip chart or on a whiteboard, and you create a T, you go help and hinder. What are the things in this meeting, in this retreat, as a team for a long period of time, from a short period of time? What's going to help us? What are the behaviors that are going to help us? What are the behaviors that are going to hinder us? I guarantee you, being human beings, many of the people in this room probably have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of being a human being. They know the behaviors that they know are helpful and that they know also drive them nuts or hinder them. And so usually pretty quickly we can create a list, don't over talk somebody. Let's have respect for all different perspectives. And, we want to introduce that really in the forming stage. If you think about team cycles and you go forming, storming, norming, performing, we want to do it before conflict emerges. And in fact, protocols come alongside so importantly during the storming phase, when the mission and the vision has become diluted or ambiguous, when we don't know who's in control, who has the power, who has the authority. We rely back on our protocols, those guidelines, those boundaries and behaviors that we're committing to. We go back to those to help guide us through storming. And so protocols are super important. Introducing them when everybody's generally in a good behavior, trying to get along, polite, and they want to move the process forward, we get a help hinder list right up there quickly. Eventually, we want to revisit that help hinder list ever so often, because we've advanced as a team. As we get smarter, as we have secondhand language, as we've gone through some conflict, we want to add things back to that help hinder. And we may say things like, look, don't repeat things that somebody else already said. Advance the thinking. Use and statements, this and, or use 5 whys, right? Why would we do this? Why would we do this? Why would we do this? And so really trying to advance your help hinder by adding to it. And then one of the most important parts that I think is crucial, we underplay it so often, is visibility. Don't write a help hinder list, put it in a binder, and never reflect on that binder. I remember there was one team I was working with through a year or two, and I brought their help hinder. I literally had it framed up on a board, and I brought it every single time we met. because it was so important for them to have a visible representation of a commitment they've made, kind of a behavioral contract, if you will. And we could reference back to it, right? We could just say, hey, I think we're starting to, expand the scope. One of the help hinders is to not expand the scope and things like that. So keep all those things in mind. Again, if any of this has been helpful, please, like, share, heart, and subscribe. And also, I will put in here the link to the post around help hinders. Your direct application, by the way, without getting too far down the road, your direct application is to next team meeting, next time you're with a group of people, try to whip out a help hinder. And even if you need to disguise it as something else, right? Sometimes it may seem too elementary. So you may say, hey, before we kick off into our normal team meeting or our normally weekly action meeting, I'd love to just go through what has been helpful the last 6 months that we've met. What do you think are some challenges or hindrances in our own cells that have hindered? Oh, cool. We've mentioned them and we can put them down on a piece of paper, maybe hang them up. So anyways, that's your direct application. Try to, in the next 7 to 10 days, implement help hinder somewhere in your life. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.